Welcome in, beautiful souls. If you're new here, my name is Jane, and if you're returning, so glad to have you back. I received a message the other day, and I haven't been feeling well, so I haven't done any readings, but this is about completion of karmic cycles, and releasing of these old patterns is allowing you to align with a higher purpose. Now, of course, higher purpose could be different for everyone. I was pulling out a few decks, as you can see. And this deck here, it has the resolutions on the bottom. So I see how it almost looks like, this is like balancing all the different aspects of our lives. So I'm going to keep this card out. They also wanted me to bring out a few other decks here. And I don't know what all these cards, the meanings of them. So they're asking me they want me to bring out the Mudra deck. So there's something here in this card that's going to help us in some way. I'm very curious because I don't know, like, what's next. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I've been asking. So what is next? What is the next step for us to take on this journey of life that we struggle to deal with? Okay, hold on. I have something running in the background. It's been kind of tough getting this reading going, and okay, hold on. I'm going to go check. Look at that. They did show me the mudra, with the hands, like the praying hands. Hold on. I got to go do this. So, with this, me trying to struggle to get this reading on the go, I have a feeling that this isn't going to be an easy beginning or cycle, an easy cycle coming, because, I've just had so many things going on, and, this, nobody probably, that's on this channel, or very few people that are aware of this, but I have a disability. I have a spinal injury, and, so there's just days that I am in a lot of pain and I have a lot of issues, and that happens to be one of them. Today happens to be one of them. So we're just going to persevere here, and I'm just going to find out what the energy... Ooh, whoa, whoa. No joke. That popped out, but I'm not going to take that. Okay. Let's see here. I'm just going to cut it. Oh, that didn't want to come apart. See that? Okay. Oh, look at that. Isn't that funny? It popped out and then I split it on that anyway. So funny, Spirit. Okay. So they want me to read this card later, so I don't know what the meaning of that is. We're just going to keep going here. Okay, so they wanted me to pull out another one of these. Underneath, it's the happy ending. And I'm sure that's what we all want. Like when we're finishing a cycle or we're ending a relationship, we all want it to have a happy ending. But that's not always the case, and nor is it ever going to be the case for everyone. Not everybody is on the same page. And they're showing me this this card here. I guess this is where, like, this card is about completion and like closure and satisfaction. Now, I mean, when this card shows up, it's about how to create a resolution in our lives. And if there's a decision that's being put off, that now is the time to deal with it and to decide, is there any unfinished business? Like, this is like closing up any of those loops. Unfortunately, not all decisions are going to be happy or easy ones to make. Okay, Spirit, is there another card here? Okay, coffee break. Funny, Spirit. The typo. You know, this card happens to come out quite a bit. The typo is about, I think it's about the fine print. Oh, I gotta look it up. Hold on. I can't remember these cards for some weird reason. Maybe it's because I don't use them enough. I don't know. I have so many decks too, so it's really hard to know the meanings of all of them, but there's a message that they want us to know here with this typo. Yeah, okay, so this is about keeping things in perspective. So this is like the imperfection. Yeah, because this card's all about like satisfaction, completion, and the closure. I find it really dark in here today. It's really gloomy outside, so you know, when this card, it's about releasing, you know, like where it has to do with like perfectionism. It's about releasing all the things, you know, like not everything's always going to be perfect. You know, you can see how this butterfly, you know, it has like these like weird splotches that are not really conforming into the shape of a butterfly. You know, I think that's just, you know, the time to release, you know, just like this. It's all a balance, you know, like not everyone's going to have a happy ending. It's not going to always be happy for everyone. Okay. So what else here? So they had me bring out a bunch of different decks here. I wasn't really sure. This is like a water deck. So let's pull out a few cards. I'm just really curious to see what... On the bottom they said, the lake. You know, before I started too, I asked Mother Mary to come in to bless this reading. You know, I use water to cleanse my table and my hands before I start it with this. It's hard to tell if the light is glaring off of these cards from where I'm sitting. It looks like it's glaring. I just want to look up, I don't know what these cards mean here. I want to see what this says here for this card. Distant shores. Travel and adventure are on the cards for you today. Whether you're planning a physical trip or stepping into a new or higher timeline. That's exactly what this message is about, because there's been like this closure, this resolution. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, so what else is here? It says here, you are crossing an important divide to new and exotic shores. This period heralds a rapid and positive shift in consciousness for you. Huh. You know, it's funny too, because I was just saying how, like, I thought that this new cycle was going to be a rough and tough one. You know, I also, before I started this, I was given the message that I have a new guide, because I was saying, like, I don't recognize the energy again. And every time I don't recognize the energy, I have a new guide. So for this new cycle, I'm going to have a new guide, and you're probably going to have a new one as well. Now, you might not realize it or understand that you do, but every time we close a cycle and we begin a new one, because we have, like, certain guides are for certain lessons that we need to learn or for certain teachings, right? So having this new guide, I don't know what's in store for any of us. Completion and reward. A spirit. So we've achieved something here because of because the message that I received was that we had there was completion of karmic cycles, not just like one karmic thing, but many. So here we have achievement, completion, reward on the bottom because of all the conscious steps that we have done. Oh, this sounds really exciting. Okay, is there another card here? Confusion. Yeah, I do have confusion because you notice that I was hesitating and then I started shuffling, but it's because I don't recognize this energy. And I was even like when I said, because things were because my last guide, like literally everything that went on in my life was part of the reading. Like if my dog was annoying or my cat was meowing or whatever was going on. So where I just assumed that where I was struggling to get this reading going and getting all this started, that it was going to be the same, but because it's a new guide, apparently that's not going to be the same. So many choices and uncertainty. Okay. So it does take time to get to know and understand the different energies. Okay, so we're just going to keep that confusion here out. And let me see here. Maybe I'm just going to move this card out of the way because there's something here they want me to read with this. It's a form of meditation thing that we can use. Okay. Let me pull out a few more cards here. Okay. And when I pulled this deck out, Mother Mary was on the bottom, which I thought was really funny. It looked transformation. I shuffled it and set it down. Transformation. Obsession. It's time to get out of your head and back into your heart. This could be for me because I think I might resonate with this because I'm really up in my head for this reading and it's weird. Like I said, it's because I don't recognize this energy. So you might be feeling really off too. I don't know who this reading is for, if it's for all of us. I'm assuming it's for all of us because the earth shifts. Exactly, Spirit. You are connected to Mother Earth, and as such, you experience all that she does. And they're you know what they're talking about? Oh, you know what they're talking about? They're talking about the it's interesting that they're bringing that up. They're talking about the equinox, the spring equinox that came in, and what happens with the spring equinox is it's the earth, the sun, and the moon, when they all line up, what happens is the earth, it creates, we have like that special barrier around the ozone layer, whatever that is, that repels like meteors and that kind of thing. That creates fissures in the ozone. So I don't think it's called the ozone layer. I can't remember what that layer is called. And I'd have to look that up again. But that protective layer that's around the earth, there's like fissures that are created in that when all those planets line up. And when the sun hits the earth, it's able to penetrate more sunlight into those fissures. And then because there's like this big, huge planetary shift, like all the planets that hasn't happened in like thousands and thousands of years, with all that kind of all lining up, there's like this huge astronomical thing that's going on too. So, but with those fissures, back to that, what happens is that more light penetrates the earth. And what that does is it creates a DNA change in the animals, in the earth, and also it would affect humans. Again, you'd have to be at the level of understanding that and knowing that and being prepared. If you're not prepared, then, you're just going to have like a lot of on energy that you don't really know what to do with it. So that's where you'll find that you're really restless, or you're not, you just don't know what to do with yourself because it's energy. It doesn't know where to go. But for people that have been preparing and have been working and, closing out these cycles and stuff like that, those are the ones that are going to have more of a DNA structure, because it can only happen if you're ready for it. So, I'm not I've been thinking about that actually the past few weeks, just because, like on the 20th of March was when the equinox came in. So, and it lasts for like 3 days. So it's like the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. So it's, like I said, I've been having a really hard time. I've been really struggling with, my energy levels have been really down. So my DNA, I know that, a lot has been like physically happening within like all these shifts and closures, and, it's a really big thing, right? So, so with all these shifts, I think that's why I'm so like off. So I just need you to be a little bit patient with me. Okay. That's why I don't recognize the energy, because it's new. It's new to all of us. Not saying that the people that it hasn't, upgraded them. It doesn't mean that, you've missed out or anything. It's, it will happen, like every time there's an equinox, it's going to happen. But this is just more for the people that have been working on their shadow self, and they've been, dealing with all their past traumas and things like that. So even if you just healed a little bit, you're going to upgrade a little bit, you know what I mean? But you can only upgrade as much as you've healed, you know what I'm saying? Healing with nature, just like I was talking about. Funny spirit. Okay, so we'll take this one. Yeah, soul group. You are getting ready to unite with members of your soul family. Now, your soul family are not, people that are here on the earth. Your soul family are the people that were the energies or souls that are in a different realm. Yeah, it's all this transformation. Exactly, spirit. Okay, so one of these, I guess. Okay. Unconditional love. Look, Mother Mary. I was just telling you about how Mother Mary, funny spirit. Little soul awakening. Yeah, that's what's happening too. Exactly. You notice how I'm really hesitant about pulling out the cards, and that's why, because I'm really struggling with feeling the energy right now. And I don't know if it's because maybe I shouldn't be, I'm still in my resting period. Like, and that's what happens too. Like every time I level up, I need to go through a period of resting. That's where they talk about that ebb and flow, right? Like, you work so hard, and you just work through all the items and all the things and all the karma and all the pain and suffering and the heartache and confusion and all that. You work through that, and you level out, and you're just like, okay, things are, I'm connecting. I'm getting these messages. This is all great. And then the shift comes. And then you're just like, why am I thinking about all these sad things again? Why am I so tired? Why I have all these aches and pains? Like, what's going on? And that's what it is. It's the shifting. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to begin with this, and then see what other messages Spirit wants to bring in. So let's start with this. Let the ripple. No joke. Just like I was talking about how like the energies come in, they come in ripples, and we also create ripples. But I want to just look it up just to make sure that this doesn't mean something else. I actually feel like things are like I'm moving around, but I know I'm not. But in my head, it is moving. Oh, number 2. Okay, let's see. Not very familiar with these cards either. I don't really, I mean, there's a lot to them. Emerging anew. Look at that. Look, emerging anew. So the message is, a new and transformed you is now emerging. Embrace this expansion and allow yourself to take up more space. Share your power, gifts, and talents with the world. No joke. And what was number 27 again? I didn't look it up. Sorry. I'm a little off, so I'm trying to, oh, you know what? And number 27, even though it's the lake, it is actually, look, it's the waters of the earth. And then this is the shifts of earth. Cool. So what is this one under? This is just under liquid. Okay, so the ripples under liquid. Okay. So what was the distant shores? So number 27 is distant shores. This is the traveling, the adventure. Yeah, okay. So either you're going to be planning a physical trip or stepping onto a new, higher timeline. And number 2 is actually about emerging anew. So just like I was saying, how, oh my God, okay. So I don't feel like I'm so in the dark. So I was thinking like, what happened to my psychic abilities? Like, what's going on? I'm not able to like read the energy, but I'm good. Okay. I'm a little messed up, but I'm good. Oops. I got these like weird, head spinny things going on. Prosperity, look. Abundance and success. Look at this. Because we've completed some kind of, because we've completed the, look, and it's just like, yay, finally get rid of some of this karmic junk and it's behind us. And now we're all going to be moving into abundance and success. This is beautiful. Earth shifts. You are connected to Mother Earth, and as such, you experience all that she does. Awakening, no joke. You are no longer letting people dictate and run your life for you. Healing with nature. Your soul yearns to be outside in nature, around the healing waters, flowers, and trees. And when I was pulling out some of these cards, I was actually thinking about how, when I was talking about how, like I was going through like a resting period and all that. And I was actually thinking about how I went into the woods yesterday, let the dogs run around, and it's just like this little path. And, so I just stayed on this little path and I held onto a tree while I was there just because, my back's been bothering me. So, yeah, so I was connecting to the trees, right? When this earth shift came up, I was thinking, yeah, it's probably I was holding on to the tree yesterday too and helping to ground me and, connect me to the energies, right? What is this? Divine masculine. It's the sun, right? And it was really sunny out. So, and I was just talking about how like the sun was penetrating the earth and creating, that's funny, Spirit. Okay. And then, so you have the divine masculine, and then you have Mother Mary, which is the divine feminine, the diamond sunlight. Yeah, exactly. Wow, Spirit. And I asked Mother Mary to come look, and I forgot that underneath here was this round deck here is the soul awakening. So you have a lot about how much awakening is actually going on, right? Okay, so they're going to have me bring out one of these birds of paradise on the bottom. Display yourself to advantage. This is no time for false modesty. Okay, so still see yourself. Just because you're expanding and you're leveling up doesn't mean that you're higher or better than anyone else. Like I was saying earlier, whatever you heal, then you step up another level. So, I mean, there could be like big levels or there could be micro levels. So as long as you're moving forward, that's all you need to worry about. You don't need to be worrying about these quantum leaps and all the stuff that they talk about. You know, you just heal one little fraction of yourself and then you move that little fraction forward. And, you know, it's all in divine timing, as they said. And there's no rush for healing. Okay. One ripple at a time. Exactly, Spirit. Or if it has to be one little drop at a time, one little spot at a time. And, you know, also they, you know, like they were bringing me back to here, like nothing always has to be perfect. You know what I mean? Like the closure does not have to be perfect. You know, I do notice that every time I do my readings, all my cards like are like off. They're not, you know, nothing's perfect. You know what I mean? Like sometimes the sound is off. Sometimes the animals are acting up. Sometimes, you know, somebody's slamming a door or, you know, nothing's perfect. You know what I mean? And this is a place I just want to, you know, everybody to know that this is a place of no judgment here. So whatever your healing is, whatever you're going through, there's no judgment. You know, this is a platform that there's not ever going to be any judgment. So if anyone comes into the, you know, comments and tries to say negative things, you know, it's just not going to be any judgment allowed here. Do you want these? Okay. Since they flew the way they did, and it's a deck of birds, so acorn woodpecker. Accumulate in times of plenty to ensure abundance in times of scarcity. Okay. Let's see what's going on with these cards here. The dodo, tread lightly on the earth. You know, there's a funny story about dodos. I know that they become extinct, or so they say. They said that, you know, they were wiped out when, you know, they thought they were birds that they could eat. And then when they realized that they felt that they were useless, you know, and they eradicated them. But, you know, I saw a video, and I don't know, I don't think it was AI, because AI wasn't as, you know, advanced as it is now. This is probably, I don't know, maybe 8-9 years ago, and there was a video of, and it was like some kind of jungle or something, and somebody had one of those trail cams. They were just starting to come out with those trail cams. Is that what they're called? Yeah, I think so. And then that they saw a dodo on it. Again, I don't know how true it is. Look at this. Honey guide. Benefit from the harvest of knowledge and substance that cooperation brings. So you have this badger and this bird. So I would assume that this bird has its nest near this badger, because a badger, nothing messes with a badger, right? So I would assume with this card that a badger would be alerted by the bird's calls, as well as the bird would receive protection. I'm going to look that up though, because I don't know what that meaning totally. Look, in the ostrich, magic remains while you ground yourself to be practical. Again, there's a lot here about the earth. You know, just like I was talking about with the equinox, and how like those fissures come and the sun penetrates the earth, and how it does alter the earth. It triggers spring. You know what I mean? I do want to, you know, so all these cards relate to the earth. Because, I mean, you know, badgers are very territorial, and, you know, they stand their ground. You know, badgers also, they don't, what was that card that talked about, you know, standing up for yourself and not allowing, you know, holding your boundaries, basically, was the gist of that. Let me just look what this honey guide here, 'cause, you know, these are two strange creatures to be. Let me see here. I don't know where to find it. I don't know if it's in alphabetical order, or I don't think I've ever looked up any of these cards, so I don't know where to find it here. Let me look it up in the... It's taking way too long. Page 49. Oh, okay. Here we go. This embodies the bounty that arises from fruitful communication. You know, it's funny too, because I was having a lot of throat chakra issues. I had to do some cleansing and clearing for my throat here. So even with those who are very different from ourselves, in Africa's dense forest, honey guide dines on wax and larvae created by bee. But bee builds her nests in tree holes or rock crevices and guards them so ferociously that 2-ounce honey guide dare not enter. And so when strong rattle or honey badger passes by, she calls to him for help, and tree by tree guides him to bee's hidden treasure. Huh. So they work together. Rattle's great clawed paws uncover bees' luscious combs, and then dines well on energy-giving honey. The rest of the feast is left for his guide. Huh! Isn't that interesting? Few may digest wax, and so Honey Guide speaks to us not only of communication, but also of the knowledge and substance in all things, if, like her, we are prepared to take the time to seek them out and absorb them. That's why I was just saying, like, if you can just be patient with me, tread lightly on earth. This bird actually has her nests and rock crevices. And then, I mean, these birds are flightless. Well, so is a dodo. So with these two cards here, these are birds that do not fly. And this bird nests on the ground. So this, this just really brings up over and over about the importance of the rooting and the grounding. Even though we have the lake here, this is actually an earth card. And then you have like the earth shifts and the healing with nature. There's a lot going on here with the importance of being in nature this year. Okay. This is very interesting. Then on the bottom, well, it's 4 of Wands, which is a celebration yet again. And you see how they have the earth and the sun directly lined up. Now, they're not showing the moon, but that's part of the equinox, is when the moon and the sun and the earth all line up. Okay, so let's see what these cards have to tell us here. Okay. Okay. Oh. The 9 of Wands flew out, but it was in reverse. But I'm not going to take it in reverse. You see how all these chakra colors are lit up? And the 9 of Wands is, it's about resilience. It's about being defiant. It's also about like the final push. In the last defense, see how like, he's standing his ground. This is like the boundaries again. Like they're talking about these boundaries and, really being, like you can see on his face, like, yeah, try me. And I was talking about that earlier, about what I read about how, you're not going to let anybody walk all over you. You're going to, you're going to keep your boundaries in place. You know what I mean? Okay, let's see here. going on with the cards today? Oh my goodness. You get the Six of Wands here too that has just popped out. And again, it's all about the chakras. I think that, because there's so many of us, and this is a collective reading, I believe that a lot of our chakras are being balanced out at this time. The Six of Wands is a lot about success and leadership. Being seen, having this victory. Again, they keep bringing up a lot about like the success, abundance, victory. This is really going to help escalate a lot of the light workers that are out there, star seeds, earth angels. Everybody's going to go into a whole new level. Looking on the bottom is the Chariot. Again, it's the sun. This is all about that working through all that karmic energy and moving in the right direction. Which card was it that talked about? Oh, this one, the lake. Yeah, and right underneath that is Three of Pentacles. This is, again, like the teacher and the students, and, there's still more teachings. What's this one here? The Devil. Yeah. Yep. Hold your ground with this energy, and this is something that has a lot, I've been noticing too in other readers, about these astral parasites and how, like they manipulate your mind, how they're trying to interfere with your communication, including your throat chakra. The Queen of Cups, that's right. Exactly, Spirit. The Queen of Cups. And it comes right out on the ripple. So you're going to be stepping into your power. You're going to be, this is all this stepping into your power and holding your, see, you know what I mean? Like this, see how like this is like blocking this energy. See, these individuals are on their phones. This is a, they use electronics to manipulate the population. It's a distraction. Yeah, it was funny because I was watching this thing the other day, and it was talking about how your brain cannot tell the difference between reality and like your subconscious and your conscious, like they get muddled together, and that because we have our ego has been triggered as children to protect us, and it puts us in like a state of fear, right? So they use the electronics, like every time you get a message or every time you get a bill that you don't think you have the money to pay for it or whatever, like it brings like this anxiety. It's just like that constant trigger that's constantly like you know whatever is going on, you know what I mean? So it keeps us in that state of fear, and that's how the devil, how the Satan, how the astral parasites are able to contaminate our brains and keep us in that fear state, which keeps us from being able to move on in this, rapid way, right? So I think what's going to happen here is the earth, because the earth is changing and vibrating differently, these energies cannot coexist with that high vibration. They need that negativity. So they're going to ramp up things that are going on in the world. So it probably would be wise to detox as much as you can. When you start vibrating at a higher level, to not look at world news or that type of stuff, because that will just keep pulling you back into this negative, think tank of, what they want, that they want to keep triggering your mind this way, right? But we don't want to do that anymore. We want to be in this, moving on, and, this unconditional love, and being in the sun energy, and being creative and successful, and, be victorious, be an influencer, or I mean, you could be an influencer, or you could be online, or you could be, you could be somebody that writes books, or, a speaker or a teacher of some sort. Like, the Six of Wands can refer to a lot of different things, you know what I mean? But being a part of, you're being called to step into a leadership role, whatever that could mean for you. Like, have these accomplishments, right? Accomplish, like, healing your chakras, and releasing more of the karma, like all of that, right? But like I said in the beginning, like, this reading was for people that have completed their karmic cycles and what was coming next for them. Whew. The Queen of Cups too this is somebody that's very emotionally intelligent. There's a lot of love and compassion. With this unconditional love, again, this is just like, with Mother Mary, that she was like the Queen of Cups, you know what I mean? She's very intuitive. There was all this, like, extremely healing, leading with her heart energy, and that came out in the very beginning too, about leading with your heart and not with your mind, because I was saying how, like, I thought that message was directed at me in that moment, right? You see how he's running, and then the chariot comes right out. So whether you have a vehicle or you're on foot, it doesn't matter. You're moving forward. And again, I know this is for people that have cleared up their karmic cycle and are moving beyond that. But it is also for people that are, even if you just cleared up like one little bit of your karmic thing, and, you're just one ripple at a time, right? With each equinox season. But I actually believe that at some point the equinox is not going to be needed anymore, and that because I think what's going to happen is with the sun is and you can tell that what they're trying to do, because they're all these chemtrails and that kind of stuff. They're doing that to try to block the sun, because they know that the sun energy is what's creating this DNA upgrading and awakenings, right? And they don't like it. They're trying to stop it. It's on the bottom. The Three of Swords, exactly. They want to keep you with, I was going to bring out some clarifiers, but here we go. Like, this is what they want to do. They want to keep you in this type of energy, and we're not going to allow it. You're going to stand your ground, and you're going to become the teacher and the Hierophant, just like I was talking about earlier. Well, and you have the King of Discs right under it with the Queen of Cups. This is, healing with nature. You're going to have all this, this success and monetary help and abundance in all these different ways, right? So what's this one here? The Fool. Yeah, get ready. Get ready. What's this one? The Queen of Discs. Look, so yeah, the King and the Queen. So look, and they come out with the Divine Masculine and then the Divine Feminine, and you have the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine again. And the discs are pentacles. So you're going to have success. You're going to have, now notice all these pink roses, and that, that goes with Mother Mary, right? I think those are roses. Those roses? I don't know if they're roses. It doesn't matter. This is a beautiful message, Spirit. I had no idea what they were going to bring forward. And one more. Whoa. This one wants to come out. The Hermit. Yeah, I think it's time to come out of the Hermit stage. Yeah. People are going to be coming out of the Hermit. That's right. Ten of Wands. Yeah, because they're letting it go. You know, I think people have been, you know, all these light leaders, they've been carrying so much for so long, trying to hold the energy for others, and now they won't, that won't be as hard anymore. Look, the Three of Cups, little celebration, exactly. And they were talking about your soul group. Well, magician, absolutely, Spirit, look at that. Wow, that's beautiful. You know, like I was saying, like all these light workers and star seeds and, you know, everybody that's been, you know, holding the line for so long, trying to, you know, hold that energy to the earth to allow this new beginning. And you know what? It's finally here. It's setting in, and there's no stopping it now. I just heard that song. What's that song? No stopping it now. I can hear it playing in my head, but I don't sing, so, and I don't really want to embarrass myself. So, feather, someone you know is undependable and insincere. Okay, it's on the bottom. Bird perched, waiting for news, package or letter. All right, is there anything in here, Spirit? Just a couple things. Okay, let's have you spit them out, if you don't mind. What's going on here? Handshake. A meeting with a stranger could be important. You know, it's funny too, because I was just hearing something about handshakes, and that if you have to shake someone's hand and you just don't get very good vibes, as soon as you get away from them, go and carry a little bit of salt in your pocket and wash your hands with it. What's her name? Her YouTube channel's called Goddess Energy. She's a really good reader. And, you know, she's not the only one that I heard that from, but it was a reminder, because I know Spirit has asked me to wash my hands with salt before. So it was a reminder to carry a little in your bag or your pocket. And, you know, I never thought to do that, but I was just like, yeah, that's actually a good idea. I think I'll do that. Okay. So you could be meeting with a stranger, fan, romance, celebration, party. You know, there's more celebration, because the Three of Cups is all about celebration. Yeah, I think this, I was just thinking about like the Devil and the Three of Swords here. And I was thinking it's funny why they brought that up. And then this card Pale pops out, time to get out of a situation. But this also comes out onto the card here for the resolution. So the resolution is, you know, this could be, you know, your aha moment. You know what I mean? Because I noticed that they didn't want me to put that card over there. Because that's why I was kind of looking at it thinking, oh, that's, you know, what is this heart, Three of Swords? Like, what is this? And the Devil, what is this about? What is it? And it's about this, because we didn't really address this too much. Just trying to stay more like I don't want to really see what's going on in the past, because we're trying to complete this cycle, right? This cycle has been completed. So this could be, you know, you're just trying to wrap things up. Flowers, happiness, exactly, Spirit, because, you know, you have the Six of Wands here, and this is all the success, all the accomplishments, you know. Also too, you know, that this card here is about, you know, not everything is always going to have a happy ending, you know what I mean? Whoa, lightning, control your anger or you will be sorry. Yeah, again, they're just kind of backtracking a little bit, just to, you know, remind you that, you know, that's what this energy wants. It wants you to get upset. It wants to keep you into this negative type thinking. Okay, Spirit, what do you want here for Chariot and the Three of Cups? Trouble and accusations. You know, I did say that there could be some issues going on now. This again could have to do with this this energy here, trying to steal your achievements, trying to steal your energy to pull you back into the negative mindset. But as soon as you catch yourself in that, you get that aha moment and get yourself right back out of it again. Because you're always going to have people that are going to try to trigger you. But because you've done so much healing and you've collapsed these timelines of karmic cycles, you know, you can reopen them by getting yourself into this. I mean, this is what you always got to remember, this is what the devil always wants, you know what I mean? Like, they're always constantly trying to, but look, guaranteed success. Yeah, you just don't allow this to create any kind of sorrow when you alone. I just split it on sun, happiness and well-being. Exactly. Trying to, you know, this is what they're trying to, like, they're trying to create a great personal sorrow. You know, here you go, look, right underneath, good advice from a wise person. So don't allow this energy, like, to interfere with your celebration. You notice here she's in a wheelchair too. So clearly she has a spinal injury. You know, just talking about how I have one. Okay, Spirit, that's all there is. Okay, so they want me to just read this mudra here, and then I'm going to close the reading. Okay, what is this mudra? This has been a beautiful reading. And I haven't been, like, feeling the energy either. I've just been, you know, resting and trying to take it easy and dissolve illusion. So Callie. Oh yeah, I just realized that's Callie. She fights off these negative energies. Nine of Wands. So Kali is a Hindu goddess that governs time. Black goddess, Mudra, pursues the highest truth and removes darkness, groundedness, intuition, wisdom, inner fortitude, security. Wow, Spirit. Yeah, that's like I said, you know, like, this energy, this cannot live in this type of energy. Though I notice that the world, I know I don't really pay attention to a lot of what goes on in the world, but I did hear, like, through, like, third-party sources, that there's a lot of things going on in the world that are really upsetting a lot of people. And this is their way of trying to control the narrative of all these accusations. And, you know, they're attacking the light workers. And, you know, I know that some of the politicians I know are not corrupt, but a lot of them are. But a lot of all these things are all going to start being pulled into the light, and it's all going to come out, and people are going to, you know, eat their hat, basically, I think. So, is there anything else here? Yeah, she's the product that she protects the innocent and destroys evil. Her fierce feminine energy is a manifestation of Shakti, the mother of all living beings. So basically Gaia, you know what I mean? So she visits your reading today to let you know your suffering is being creatively, oh my God, Spirit. I know I was talking about the throat chakra and the communication, how I had to cleanse and now they're interfering here. Suffering, just because I talked about it, it kind of draws that into my energy, just like I was talking about here, how easy it is for it to happen. So creativity, okay, you know what I'm saying here. Transformed, alchemy is occurring within your very cells, even if you feel stuck. So I was just talking about all that. Understanding the cosmic law of three. Cosmic law of three. Funny, Spirit. You know, and you notice here that Mother Mary is number 33, and I was thinking about that, you know, how that's like a master number. It's like the Ascended Master number. Okay, understand. Oh, okay, which applies to all phenomena on all scales, micro and macro. For every affirming force, there is an opposition or denial. The reconciling or third force breaks the deadlock and allows for the birth of something new. This mudra helps you transition from doubt and fear to love and understanding. You will find your feet and foundation at this process as this process reveals itself. Kali's energy renews your faith and shows you a bigger picture. You will understand why your life hasn't been easy or straightforward. Looking back now with clarity and perceive an intelligence at play. No, the beings of light have your best interests at heart. They work for you with the greater good. You are supported and loved. So you can use this mudra here, like this hand thing, when you're praying or when you're doing a meditation or just trying to find a little peace. So you can affirm with these words: with grace and hope, I await the dissolving of illusion. In sacred surrender to the unknown, I allow for a reality bathed in the sweetest vibration of love to open before me. That's beautiful, Spirit, because I was talking about how, the fear and then the love, and then they just brought that all out with this card. Okay, well, that's all I have for you. Wow, that's a very amazing reading. I'm really impressed with it. So, I'm really grateful that you brought it to us. Thank you, Spirit. And I'm going to bid everybody a good day. And I hope this video finds you well. And I'm going to send you all my love and light. Bye, everyone.